Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and of YouTube. Welcome to Jibber. As always, I am your host, Skajarmas, otherwise known as Tone Shift. We have a pretty small house of people here today, only a couple other people besides myself. So first and foremost, staring in the backdrop into your soul, we have Paladin.
Hello.
Yep, let's see here. Next up, we have one of the Brits, Darkness, just kind of hanging out there.
Hello, you wonderful people of the internet, again.
Yes. And last but not least, surprisingly enough, we actually have a new person joining the roster of Jibber today. Just became a patron of mine like an hour ago at $15, so good on you for that. We have Lightning Flash, complete with a vector made by Oblivion Fall.
Greetings, everyone.
Yes, and he also happens to be British, so he's going to be hanging out in the British corner with Darkness and Tom, if Tom are here.
Yes. We should have like a
best.
table in here.
We're like the Three Musketeers.
Like the Three Musketeers plus Small Tux whenever he decides to show up. I gotta get rid of this.
Yeah,
Tiny
that's the
Tux,
mascot.
where you be?
Yeah.
Yeah. Three Musketeers or Three Puffs.
Yeah, so we got a pretty small house here tonight, but that's okay. We can make it work just fine, I'm sure of it. So, how's everyone's week been? Yeah, apparently Paladin just straight up has a story he can tell about that. That's going to be today's third topic. Hopefully he can make it last for more than 5 minutes, but it's hard to tell with this guy.
Well, you know, I'm a shitty storyteller, so...
Yes, you are.
You can always just try. You can just try.
He
I will
does.
be trying.
He does try. He
Should I be
routinely
worried?
fails. And I am not at all ashamed of being brutally honest about that.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of you saying that.
Darkness, what about you? How's your week been?
I say it's been pretty terrific, I say.
Did Ben do anything?
Well...
If the answer is yes, then wait
Yeah.
until later. We could save that for improv if we
boy.
still have time.
It's short, but yes, he did. First,
Save it and let's see if we have to go into improv. And what about you,
Okay.
Lightning, the new guy?
Not much aside from work.
yeah.
Yeah, Lightning Flash has kind of been hanging around in the Discord server for a while, more or less being a lurker, and he watches my shit. Apparently, he's a big fan. This makes me question his sanity and standards immensely, but, well, you know.
Well, you know what they say. Madness breeds more madness.
Yeah, I guess.
You
Anyway,
certainly questioned me.
I question all of your standards. I question mine, okay?
Oh, please, you have to have standards to question.
Yeah. Okay, touche. You got me there. All right. So, we have a relatively short list of topics today, but hopefully we can have some decent conversation out of them.
Indeed.
On November 1st, the first episode of Doctor Who's Living Legacy was finally put out. After a month of waiting that I had hoped not to have to go through, in large part because of communication blunders that have now been since resolved. But now, the first episode is out, and so far the reception seems to be generally positive. It's sitting pretty high on the view count already for having only been out for like 3 days. Well over 1,000 views and a pretty good number of likes, dislikes, some great feedback in the comments section, some people pointing out some issues in the early parts of the episode, but in general, the reception seems to be pretty good. So, if you haven't listened to it yet, and you're at all interested in audio dramas, radio plays, and Doctor Who, and of course My Little Pony, then go check it out. It's pretty easy to locate. So, that on itself is pretty neat. And already we've started work on episode 2.
Awesome.
Mainly in the fact that I've recorded my spoken lines. I still have some monster growls to do, but I'll probably be doing that later today or tomorrow after I've gotten a decent night's rest. I don't know, daylight savings fucked with my sleep schedule because it's stupid. It solves nothing anyway. But so how many of you have heard the first episode?
I've listened to the whole thing, the first episode.
All right.
I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. I guess.
still,
Go ahead and give your thoughts then. I guess.
I still regret not having gotten round to auditioning for it.
Oh yeah, Lightning wanted a part in this series, so.
Yeah.
I did as well, but unfortunately, my neighborhood's too bloody noisy, and there's no freaking way to soundproof my room enough because the walls are hollow as fuck. That's what I get for living in a council house. It's shite.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh dear.
But any particular highlights from the episode that you particularly liked? Any favorite moments or points of critique that I could use to improve the future episodes?
No, well, highlights definitely the Legacy Doctor. I did like the guy's portrayal of the Doctor. Sound very Tennant-esque.
Yeah. Geeky Sonic is our voice actor for the Legacy Doctor, and he definitely does a really good job. I'm very happy we grabbed
He
him.
does an amazing job.
Yeah. My favorite bits my favorite bits from him are actually when he's yelling. Because he definitely conveys that sort of energy. Like in the one scene in the TARDIS, spoilers for any of you who haven't listened yet. If you haven't listened yet and you want to, go listen to it now. There's your spoiler warning. But the bit that I think were best, the two bits I think were best, first of all was when they were in the TARDIS for the first time, and he mentioned how he had let the vampires go in the past. on its own, his shouting there is already very attention grabbing and draws you in very much. However, so kudos to that on its own, but working together with the sound effects that wound up being added in there, not to toot my own horn or anything here, but when playing it back, even I fucking got chills. When when there was the loud metal clang of him punching the console in frustration over letting the vampires go, I think that really helped add an element to the whole situation. The fact that and the best part is those dongs weren't in the script. I added those manually.
Wow.
Yeah,
nice.
but it worked out pretty well. I like to think so. There's that. So what about you, Darkness? Any particular favorite moments, highlights, or bits of critique?
Well, I was super enjoying it every moment until, because you know how incompetent it is, the Wi-Fi decided to commit suicide halfway through.
Ow.
I mean, that has that doesn't necessarily say anything about the quality of the product itself, but
I know. I'm sorry. Let's just say I found something really hard when that happened. I was not amused.
Damn you, technology.
But it seems to be working now, and I will definitely get back on it. I say that what I like about it so far is I also like the music you chose for it as well in the background. The music's really fitting it very well.
I do try.
And it's just a really great start to the whole thing so far. Especially,
sorry,
that's all right. It's okay. But yeah, especially how you're doing the characters as well, which I do tend now and then because I watch Doctor Who over I know quite a lot, even the old classic stuff. Now and then they don't get it off right the first time. Quite a load of times, unfortunately, when the whole starting everything new. But you are doing a really great job at it, I say.
Well, don't give me all the credit here.
And everyone else.
Yeah. I had a lot of help with the writing process from Tom. You know, he's basically my lore master and co-writer. The guy helps a lot more than you would think. So he gets a fuck ton of. He gets a lot of credit. Do not discount him.
I am not. Trust me. I was gonna say something about. Some time to it work as well.
Yeah, and of course, you know, the voice actors that we brought on board did a great job as well. Kenzie, VA, Izzy Fizzy, Anna Melody, Geeky Sonic, of course. Hell, we even had one guy who only had one line in the whole episode, Toxic Cure, but even that one line was entertaining. Specifically, for those of you who have heard the episode, he was, and didn't bother to listen to the end credits, he was the guy who in the background shouted, "I love you, Lyra!" And he did a great job with that line. Only line he had in the whole frickin' episode, but I think he did a fantastic job with it, so there's that.
Yes. I am looking forward to hear more of this little project of you and all the people that's helped you out with it so far.
Yeah, pretty much the only thing we need to go full blast on the recording for episode 2 is someone to do the voice of the 11th Doctor. That's all we need right now.
Ah.
So if any of you know someone who can do a good 11th Doctor voice and has a good microphone, point in my direction, would you?
That leaves me out then.
Yeah.
I wonder if a set of lines going to come up with that Doctor.
What line?
Oh, timey-wimey stuff.
No, that's 10,
Just,
not 11, first of all. Second, he's
I
only...
thought he said it at one point, didn't he?
He said it a few times here and there, yes, but it wasn't like his big thing. It was one, and he wasn't the one who started it, so it's not really attributed to him. He just kept it going. But no, he doesn't say timey-wimey at all in episode 2, which is the only episode 11 shows up in. Paladin, what about you? Have you heard it?
I have not gotten around to watching it because I've been busy with work and
Fair enough.
I've been sleeping through mornings and going to work in evenings.
Fair enough. Well, that just means you have something to do when we're done here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it seems that's the reason why Tux can't join us right now, because he says, "I'm working right now. Sorry."
Yeah, we had been.
I'm working right now.
Yeah,
What is it, the Neanderthal?
Yeah, we'd been hoping to get more people in on this today. You know, small group like this. Conversations with thoughts and opinions like this is a bit harder to maintain with such a small group of people, but yeah, we'll make it work.
Yes.
It will work.
Lie.
Okay.
Why?
Anyway, interestingly enough, something very unusual happened, and some people are telling me that there is no way this can be a coincidence. I am refusing to believe that until I get some legit confirmation. But as many of you may know, there is another Doctor Who's project out there called Doctor Who's the Great, and it is headed up by Marivex and Tenkage. And it got 3 episodes in, even got an original soundtrack for the 3rd episode. The 3rd episode was a cliffhanger, the start of a 2-parter. But after that, it just kind of went silent for 2 years. And the other two big Doctor Who's projects, Doctor Who's Adventures and Doctor Who's and Assistant, have kind of not gotten much progress either. Like, apparently the people working on them do plan on coming back to them at some point, but have had various issues keeping them from doing it. I'm not very well informed on those two. Doctor Who's the Great is the one I kind of pay attention to, because that was my introduction.
Isn't that the one with Trixie?
Yes, because the great and powerful Trixie. Doctor Who's the Great. There you go. Yeah, Doctor Who's the Great was kind of my introduction to Radio Blaze. It's what inspired me to do Spectra way back in the day, that thing that kind of crashed and burned and died and went to hell and burned some more. And it's also in part what inspired me to do Doctor Who's A Living Legacy. And so imagine my surprise when the day after I post the first episode of Doctor Who's Living Legacy, 2 years after the last episode of Doctor Who's the Great came out, it suddenly has episode 4 up. Just out of fucking nowhere. No build-up, no announcement, nothing. It's just, oh, hey, episode 4's up now. What?
Jesus.
Yeah, I have no idea why that happened. Some people are telling me, like Hades specifically is telling me that, like that there's no way this can be a coincidence, that like me posting a Doctor Who's thing convinced them to get their asses back in gear. I refuse to believe that. I adamantly refuse to believe that, but on the off chance that Marivex or Tenkage or anyone who's ever worked on that project and would happen to know, if they listen to this and hear this, feel free to tell me one way or the other, did me putting out Living Legacy convince these people to get their shit back together? Because if that's the case, great! But until something like that happens, I shall keep myself under the assumption that it was just a happy little accident and coincidence.
Well, why don't you ask him yourself?
I would, but I don't have a means of contacting him.
Well, somebody post this to them, so.
I don't know how to get in touch with them. But
I said the only two things come into mind. Either it's like either you did kick them into gear and they just decided to now, or they were inspired by you to just carry on with the work, or you may have some friendly competition. You never know.
I mean, I don't want to be competing with greats like, no pun intended, Doctor Who's the Great or the other two Doctor Who's things. I consider my work amateurish at best by comparison. These guys really know these guys know what they're doing. I'm just floundering in the dark here.
Ah, I see.
Well, from a thing I saw coming home from the supermarket, the amateurs built the Ark, the professionals built the Titanic.
Oh.
I mean, to be fair, the Ark is fictional.
True.
So that whole analogy kind of falls
course
flat
it
on
is.
its face.
It's impossible to fit the animal.
Its measurements wouldn't even be large enough, but this isn't a channel dedicated to the criticism of religion, much as I wish it was. So we shall have to steer away from that topic of conversation.
Definitely.
It was just something I saw, and it was pretty interesting. Like, rocking a chair. It's like rocking a chair is something to do, but it gets you nowhere.
I know. But, yeah, so... Yeah, all in all, this is kind of an interesting little occurrence. Doctor Who's the Great suddenly got a resummation just a day after I did my Doctor Who's thing. I hope it's not a coincidence, but I mean, hey, if anyone happens to know for sure, let me know. I am eager to know. So,
speaking of Doctor Who's, quick, there was one version of Whooves I did complete through because the guy finished it off and basically said, well, which the character would say, I'm done, that's it for me. Which was that, what was it, Discorded Whooves? Which is basically
I love that.
the anti-version of him.
right.
Yeah.
Which it was hilarious and completely batshit insane now and then. But what do you expect? It's the Discorded version. Of course it's going to be. And it's not afraid to go in certain areas where the other one wouldn't never go.
Yeah. Well, Discorded Hooves was in the form of a Tumblr blog sort of thing.
And I liked it at one point they were both together, the normal one and the Discorded one. And the normal one's just like apologizing for his rudeness and everything and tries to, well, keep it decent, but failing. Good times.
Neat. So, moving on to topic 3, I suppose. There's not really much more we can say about all that.
Yep.
So, I get the feeling I'm going to kick myself for this later, but Paladin has a topic. He wants to recount the events of his week. We'll see if he can make it last for more than 30 seconds. I'm not holding out hope.
Have
at me,
only
time.
18 minutes in. We're getting through these topics fast today.
Yeah, I mean, again, it would help if we had everyone else here to keep those opening 2 topics going for longer, but we don't. We just have us, and Paladin hasn't seen Doctor Who's Living Legacy yet, so he couldn't offer his input on that, so...
My apologies.
I don't blame you.
You failed.
Anyway. So
your
recap
week,
on my
take it away.
week. I pull up my notes. All right.
She fucking has
Monday.
notes. That's how you know he's taking it seriously.
Ooh.
Monday, one of the things I was doing in my shift was being the palletizer, which we, when the product's put in the box, we put it on the pallet. I screwed that up.
Oh boy.
We're supposed to have the labels like pointing out, outwards. I had them pointing all in one direction.
Oops.
All the way up the stack.
How bad is that?
Like 4 or 5 high.
No, I mean, like, how bad is that for you, and just in general for the things you're doing?
Well, honestly, the only trouble I get is I get shit from the person who's the runner.
Right. What exactly do you do again? Refresh my memory.
I work at Cooper's Farms. I do turkey products. We were doing turkey roast on that day. for
Oh.
the holidays.
All right, fair enough.
Oh, turkey! Please don't bugger up my turkeys. I like my turkeys.
I won't.
Turkey. I prefer pig, frankly.
Pork.
Pork.
Bacon.
Yeah. Tuesday.
Sorry, carry on.
Go on.
No, you're good. Tuesday. I was the meat filler, and I almost fell into the meat vat twice.
Oh, crap.
That would have been an awful experience. I get the feeling.
Yes, I was
That would
reaching
be
in with
painful.
the little bucket to scoop it in and pour it into the, the thing to bring it over to them. And the cardboard underneath me buckled, and I almost slipped it.
Jesus.
Oh.
You know that reminds me of a little head canon I've got as to why Twilight is so terrified of quesadillas.
Oh God.
You know how she's afraid of quesadillas, and her reasoning behind it is they're so cheesy, right?
Yes.
Well, I have the headcanon that when she was just a filly, at some point while at Celestia's school, they were like on a field trip to see how like cheese was made or something. I wouldn't know why. Maybe they were doing a course on like how food production works or how they use magic to help work with machinery. Who knows? Any number of reasons. But while they were there, Twilight wound up falling into a vat of cheese that was still, in the process of being set up. So it was kind of like sort half molten cheese. So she falls into this. So she falls into a vat of half molten cheese and the thing that's keeping it stirring, so it doesn't set prematurely. She's being knocked around, covered in stringy, sticky, melty cheese, spinning all over the place until she's finally pulled out, just covered in a thick layer of half-ready cheese. Barely able to breathe, she can't see, her nostrils are being flooded with this awful stench, her mouth is filled with the taste of half-ready cheese. Her mane and tail are both sticky, everything is sticky, when it really shouldn't be so sticky, but it is. And she got stuck in cheese for a little while, and so ever since that event where she was worried she would suffocate in a vat of cheese, she has a deathly fear of cheese and by extension quesadillas.
That's a cheesy situation.
Fuck
fuck.
you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. No. 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 Paladin. No. Bad. Stop. Sit in a corner and think about what you've done.
Then you won't hear the rest of what I have to say.
Come on, Mr. Paladin. In
Bad
the corner
boy.
you go.
Bad boy. You're on a big timeout.
May I continue?
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes, you may.
All right. And the second time I slipped on the floor and almost fell.
Slip.
Just kind of a comedy of errors with you, isn't it?
Oh, yes. And then later that day, some of the people from the other department wanted to get their hours in, so they came in to help us. And I was putting the roast in the box, and she was a palletizer. And I kept getting like several of them at once, so I just put them on the box, at once the box, and then slowly just put the cooking suggestion on it, and then send them through. Well, that didn't really go through with some of the runner who took note of this, and she came over and said, "Do you know she's pregnant?" It's like, no, I did not. She is from another department.
Oh.
Do not make me the villain here. 'Cause I am not.
I think I remember this.
Oh yeah, I think I've told about this in the chat one the day, but yes. And I was ticked because I got yelled at for something I did not know.
I do hate it when that happens. When there's something you have no way of knowing, people assume you know. It's like, I am not psychic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Communication people.
For all I know, it could have been common knowledge. I would have been that one person that had no clue.
Yeah.
But anyway, Wednesday actually happened on the server with Soviet.
Oh God, what happened?
I tried to tell him a joke, which Darkness has heard, and he found it funny. and tried to have me removed from the server.
Really?
Ew.
Yes. He said, as a $10 patron, I request that Paladin be removed from the server.
Pretty sure he was joking. I don't remember.
I'm not
what
sure if
the-
he was joking, but Hayes just pops in and is like, that's not how it works.
I mean, it's not. So, what was the
Yeah.
joke again? I will subject myself to it for science.
What is the difference between an American blonde and a Russian blonde?
I'm not sure I want to know, but I have to.
An American blonde will get carried away. A Russian blonde will carry you away.
Fair.
Where's the delete user button? I kid, of course. That, as much as I wish it was, that is not a ban-worthy offense.
Hey, well, you know, in
Honestly,
Russia,
that's a joke I came up
make
while
me big there.
working at my job, because somehow I've got that time. Thursday, you guys are going to get a kick out of this.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
I was the meat filler,
Okay.
which
oh
means I take the
God!
meat
You make
from
me
the
hungry
white
for
barrel.
meat.
I take the dark meat from the barrel and put it in the lug so it can be packed into the bag to make the roast. Well, my coworker needed the knife that I carry in my on the back. I usually carry on my back hind end, and she didn't want me to reach for it because my hands are nasty. So she had me turn around, hold up my smock so she could reach for it.
So, in other words, she took the knife out of your ass.
Yes.
How awkward must that conversation be? Hey, can I touch your ass? What? Why? I need to grab the knife you have hidden there.
Yes, and she put it back, and then she put her
I would
hands
feel
on my
violated
shoulder
that
and
day.
said, "This is not harassment."
It kind of feels like it is when you say that.
Yes, my face is deep
I
red.
need an
like
adult.
apples.
I am an adult.
I am an adult. I am an adult.
And then another coworker needed my knife for the same reason.
Did they do the same thing?
Let's get this over with. And as soon as she reaches for the knife, everybody around me is like, ooh.
Paladin's getting filled up!
Hey-o.
Oh my god.
Yes, and one of the words muttered from one of the sentences muttered from my mouth was, "I hate all of you."
Oh yes.
And then
We have no problems.
And then finally, Friday, everybody kept asking me, "Are you the pitcher? Are you the pitcher or the catcher?" Which is a sex joke.
I don't get it.
I don't
I do.
honestly get it myself.
At least someone gets it.
Uh-huh.
I had to ask for little on what that means.
Mm.
Okay. What does it mean?
You want to know the meaning?
Yes.
Oh boy.
NSFW
I really
warning,
don't want to
maybe?
explain this.
Okay. Brief,
really
brief,
don't.
brief NSFW warning for any of you who don't like sexual contact. We're going to talk about that for just a minute.
So
Yeah.
if someone
Be
else who
quick.
knows this in here, I'll let you do the explaining.
Does anyone else in here know it?
The pitcher is the male. The catcher is the female.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
I knew it.
Yes.
Okay, so I failed to see why people would ask that of you, but okay. Do you act really feminine or something?
No, I just don't like talking about sex out.
And yet you're one of the more prolific posters in the Wild Room.
Yes. It's a strange coincidence, but at least I don't have to talk. I don't have to explain anything I post in there.
Fair enough.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. NSFW warning lifted. We're good.
Yes,
Yay.
and that is my week.
Ooh.
I don't know how long that was, but
About 7. about 7 minutes, I
Sorry.
think. Maybe a little less.
7 minutes. Where where I am, it's 11:30.
All right.
Same.
We got another half hour ago.
Yeah, we do. So, onwards to topic 4 then. So, I'm doing the sequel to Changeling Courtship Rituals.
Yay!
Yeah. And the first chapter is already recorded and up on Patreon for any of you who happen to have pledges to that. So,
I will be watching it later.
yeah. So,
Speaking
yeah.
of which,
Saved.
the author, I wonder, how's the author? I heard he's a bit shy on being here.
I don't know. I mean, if Codex Exequus ever wants to join Jibber, I will have no qualms whatsoever, but I don't know one way or the other. All I know for sure, though, is that the first chapter already had me giggling a bunch. Interestingly enough, I haven't actually read Pony Courtship Rituals all the way through yet. So I'm going to have to do some reading ahead on that at some point. But all the same, I suppose it's worth pointing out that when I get done with Pony Courtship Rituals, I'll probably be putting back into motion Queen of the Hive. It's been a good few months, and I was well over halfway through when I stopped. So who knows? When I finish Pony Courtship Rituals, I might pick back up Change Queen of the Hive. Don't
Which
hold.
probably won't
Don't,
do the sequel.
oh no! After Queen of the Hive, I'm done with all that.
Even if Tom begs, yeah.
I mean, I'll probably do a Sparkle in the Darkness when that's done, but that's got to be done first. But yeah, I just figured I'd announce we're doing Pony Courtship Rituals. Wow, I figured I'd have a lot more to say about that. I don't.
Probably
though.
my last topic has you speechless.
No, it doesn't. I just didn't have anything really to say about the fact that I'm doing Pony Courtship Rituals, other than I'm doing Pony Courtship Rituals.
I
So
have nothing to say.
so now we're on to improvisation. Joy, I have
Wow.
no clue.
Neither do I.
I suppose one thing I could talk about is the fact that I've been doing art recently. You know, practicing art and shit.
Ooh.
Nice.
I suck tit at it right now. I am awful. But I'm trying to get better. Just for the hell of it, really. Just as another side thing to add to my list of skills. And I think I'm starting to settle on a style that is largely cell shading or hard shading, whatever the hell you want to call it. I think it's cell shading. Because I don't know how to do soft shading properly. So doing hard shading on everything with some light, very lightweight soft shading on environments. I'm currently working on trying to get the pony body sizes right, along with interior shapes and lighting gotten down. Exteriors are where I really suck. So, you know, like landscape shots, I suck at those. For so many reasons. Not the not the least of which being that, you know, and just in general, landscapes are kind of hard to do right, especially when it comes to shading and coloring. They are very difficult to do right on that front. And of course, just in general, I still have to make my characters better looking in general. I like to think I've already made some progress. I'm getting more of a hang of hind legs, but just in general, the proportions of characters is something I'm still having trouble doing right. I have this really nasty habit of making the bodies way, way too small. So that's something I'm going to have to work on moving forward, is making sure the character bodies are larger and properly proportioned compared to everyone else.
Reminds me of that one clay project I did. I did one of those Brotherhood of Steel power armor things.
Ah, right.
I had to make the boots a lot bigger to make sure he stays standing.
All right.
So,
you know what? That actually, talking about drawing reminds me. The most recent drawing I did actually depicts a thing from the Little Flasher series that I'm contemplating doing. Are any of you here particularly invested in that series or don't want to be spoiled by it? Just asking now.
I'm fine. Go ahead.
Lightning?
What series?
The Little Flashes series, little glimpses, little choices, little consequences. Those.
Oh, right. Haven't actually started listening to that one. Might do that. Might get to it at some point.
So, do you care one way or the other if I talk about minor spoilers for future stories?
Nah, I don't mind.
All right.
Oh.
And Paladin, I assume you don't really care one way or the other?
No, not really.
All right. So, in that case, I'll go ahead and talk about a certain plot thread that I'm thinking about working into the series moving forward. For any of you who are listening and who are interested in the Little Flashes series, be it listening to the Little Glimpses reading and having an interest in the rest of the series as a result, we're going to be talking about spoilers for Little Consequences here. So, and stories following that I haven't actually written yet. So, pluggeth thine ears and go get caught up if you don't want to be spoiled on those things. So there's your spoiler warning for the Little Flashes series. Don't say I didn't warn you. So, yeah, the plot thread in specific that I am considering is having Fluttershy and Thorax wind up in a romantic relationship with each other. I am actively considering shipping those two, and it's a very weird ship. I know.
Not really. Their personalities are quite similar.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not a commonly considered one here, as I can tell. I have yet to see I'm trying to think of a good ship name for them, but I can't think of one. I've yet to see a ship of Thorax and Fluttershy on filmfiction.net. Now, of course, I miss a lot of fanfics because a lot of them are crap and by extension go unnoticed by basically everyone. But I am wondering what'll happen if or how well I could go about doing it, because for one thing, over the course of Little Consequences, the third story in the series, Fluttershy and Thorax developed a very close sort of friendship, in part because they bonded over the fact that they're both siblings. Specifically, since that Fluttershy is an older sister and Thorax is a younger brother, who has now been thrust into the position of an older brother taking care of the little bat pony filly named Wind Whisper. He wound up going to Fluttershy for advice a lot during that time, where he was trying to figure out how exactly to properly take care of her. And Fluttershy gave him plenty of advice, even before she realized he was a changeling, because he was disguised at first. And Fluttershy was the first one, aside from Rainbow Dash and Twilight, who knew he was a changeling the whole time because he revealed himself to them. Fluttershy was the first one out of everyone else to give him a proper, fair chance to prove that he was a good guy. In fact, while everyone else was skeptical of his display of having an emotional meltdown after his disguise failed in front of all of them and Wind Whisper ran away in a panic attack, while everyone else was skeptical and suspicious, Fluttershy was the first one to just walk up and give him a hug, encouraging him to just let it all out. So, right there, the two already have something of a, those two already have something of a bond going. Fluttershy's kindness and Thorax's generally gentle nature playing well off of each other. So, and towards the end of the story, they had what could only be described as this adorably awkward friendshipping moment, as someone in the comments described it, quite accurately and on point. And fun fact, in the original version of that scene, before I took my editing pass, there was actually a bit where Wind Whisper and Pinkie Pie both started to very loudly tease the two over their interaction, implying that they had, Fluttershy and Thorax sitting in a tree, K-I-S-S-I-N-G, that kind of thing, giving those two that kind of immature teasing. I decided to axe that particular bit because it didn't really... It was a bit too ham-fisted, and I'm not sure if I really am going to go all the way with that particular plot thread. I'm considering it, and I like the idea of it. Because the two characters would actually play off of each other really well. The only problem right now I see with actually trying to get it done is where the two characters live. Fluttershy lives in Ponyville, and Thorax lives in Canterlot with Wind Whisper and Squall, Wind Whisper's old brother. And so they live in completely separate towns, albeit the two towns are nearby each other. It takes less than a few hours by train ride to get from one to the other. But generally speaking, train tickets cost money.
Well, he has wings, so...
Yeah, but to be fair, Thorax is going to have a job in the relatively near future. And actually, I'm surprised I haven't seen any of this either, but a changeling with the job as an actor in a theater. For some reason, I have not seen that. Which is strange because it makes perfect sense. You would think changelings would be ideal for that line of work.
Yeah.
I mean, they're basically acting on the job most of the time.
Yeah, and I mean, hell, we already know Thorax has at least a passing interest in theater because when, I think it was in season 6, I forget, it was season 6 or 7, I think it was 7, when Starlight and Trixie paid a visit to Thorax's hive after the hive had been reformed and he was remodeling the place, he showed them that he had set up a spot for, theaters and plays to be performed, drama theater. And he was
nice.
And so we know, we know he sort of set up the whole layout of the hive pretty much. He probably had a lot of help, but he's in charge. He probably dictated a lot of that himself. So that indicates that he has at least a passing interest in theater.
Oh.
So,
Christmas
so with that in mind, it just strikes me as it seems like a good thing that also lines up with his personality in the Little Flashes series and his circumstances, because the hive is without a queen now. Chrysalis has been turned into a tree and is being held in the Crystal Empire until further notice. So there's a huge power vacuum back in the hive, but Pharynx has gone back to fill that vacuum, and Thorax is staying in Equestria. So in the alternate universe that is the Little Flashes series, Thorax is never going to become the king of the changelings. That's his big brother's job.
Fair enough.
Which means the changelings are still going to be probably a lot more isolationist and reclusive and militaristic, albeit not inherently aggressive or invasive anymore, because Pharynx knows there's a better way to do things now.
Yeah.
But they're still going to be reclusive, isolationist, and not fond of outsiders. Wanting to like they'll happily be your friend, but on their terms. They have to come to you. So, with that said, it just seems like a pretty good thing for Thorax. I mean, we know he's willing and able to go full-on violence to protect the ponies and beings he cares about, but it's worth noting that I'm pretty sure he hates being violent or aggressive and fighting in general. Considering, how he acted in the episode where he met Ember for the first time, and he pointed out how there were still rogue changelings who were refusing to accept the new lifestyle, and he was struggling to get them to listen.
Which was just Pharynx.
It was more than that at the time. There was like a whole group of changelings that were rebelling against him, so to speak, not wanting to change their ways and appearance and open up, still staying true to Chrysalis's ways, and the big reason they were doing that is because he wasn't being assertive enough. He was basically just repeatedly asking them nicely and even offering prizes if they did, and that wasn't working. It was Ember who convinced him to be more assertive, to lay down the law, so to speak, make it clear, I'm in charge, these are the rules, and you will follow them. And if they kept acting up, then he'd turn into a big fuck-off bear and threaten them, essentially. Make it clear. He's the boss. Thorax is the boss. He's in charge. Now, I got the feeling he hates doing that, and considering Pharynx is his big brother, well, it makes it pretty clear to me that Thorax would never actually threaten his brother. He already has demonstrated through the way he acts on more than one occasion that he just hates being aggressive in general, so... So it stands to reason he wouldn't do that to his brother, which, makes it quite clear he wouldn't seek a job in, like, the Royal Guard or any military branch. He probably wouldn't seek anything that was based off of spy work or intelligence or anything like that, largely on the grounds that he hates doing that kind of thing. He's remarkably good at it, but he hates doing it. So it just strikes me that a theater actor would probably be right up his alley. He has the skill set for it. In Little Flashes, he was able to convince everyone he was someone else for well over a week before his disguise finally failed. And he can disguise himself as anything. He can fill basically any role. He could even transform himself into a monster to fill a part in a play. So if there's a scene where like a giant monstrous beetle is needed, well, Thorax can just turn into that. So,
Indeed.
right up his alley. So, but what that tells me is that creates a very distinct sort of gap that will make it difficult for Fluttershy and Thorax to interact moving forward.
Well, it just hope that those plays like that don't get played in Ponyville.
I mean, again, he's in Canterlot, so he works at a theater in Canterlot. That's where he performs. So probably wouldn't be too big of an issue.
Well, Ponyville, has
They have a history.
yes.
Yeah, they deal on monster attacks on a daily basis.
Not daily, but still frequent. Monster attacks, friendship problems, magic mishaps, Pinkie Pie, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Millpool.
We could count the Pinkie Pie incidents on our hands.
We'd need more than 2 to count the number of times Pinkie Pie has probably screwed over that town. We'd probably need there are 365 days in a year, and the show has been going for, in canon, I get the feeling it's been close to 7 or 8 years since episode 1 to where we are now, something like that. Which says to me that, what's 365 times 8?
Oh, God. Math was never my strong suit.
Well, if someone can give me that number, that's how many fingers we would need to successfully count the number of times Pinkie Pie has done something crazy to Ponyville.
Dang it, I don't
What
have
was
a
the
calculator.
combination?
365 times 8.
2,920.
All right. So, Pinkie Pie has caused trouble for Ponyville 2,920 times.
Yep.
Damn. She sounds like more trouble than the villains.
To be fair, the sort of trouble she causes is usually just benign. Like, just an anomaly in your day that's so frequent she stopped being an anomaly. At least to the locals.
Unless we count Party of One.
That's one of those there are cases where it becomes even more anomalous than usual and is, as such, cause for concern. Party of One, Yakety Sax, etc.
Ah, damn. Was that
The Pear Sprite incident?
Was that the bloody episode that was the cause of a certain creepypasta?
Yakety Sax was the one where Pinkie Pie got really depressed because she couldn't play Yovitaphone.
It is, god damn it.
Creepypasta.
Why, fandoms? Why?
Creepypasta? I am unaware of this creepypasta. Enlighten me.
Creepypasta is basically
I know what
Bullshit.
creepypastas are. I know what creepypastas are.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
unfamiliar with this one. What?
Oh, really?
I
Wow.
don't really pay much attention to creepypastas. Now fill me in, goddammit. I'm curious now.
Okay, this is the first person I've ever come across. I haven't heard of this one. Basically, there's a certain creepypasta story called Pinkamena Cupcakes, if I recall, or Cupcakes for short.
Cupcake.
Which is
Do you
yeah.
mean the one where she cannibalizes
Yep.
Rainbow Dash?
yeah.
That's based off of Party of One, and yes, I have heard of that. That's also not a creepypasta. That's just a
Yeah.
grimdark. I thought you were talking about something that was spawned from Yakety Sax, which was a more recent episode.
Oh, because
Pay
Well, the main reason why-
attention.
sorry.
Oh wait, that's right.
Sorry,
You-
we-
oh wait,
like
that's right. You don't actually watch the show. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I've watched the show. It's
Non-believer.
I know.
honestly, the episodes just meld into one for me, though.
Heresy.
And can I just point out, Yakety Sax is the only episode I haven't seen of season 8.
What was your favorite? Episode 1, 2, 3. To me, they're all just one big episode in my mind.
That's
The
not how
reason why I
that
called
works.
it, yeah. The reason why, because it ended up on the list of them, and of course it crossed over with a certain terrible creepypasta character known as Jeff the Killer.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh,
versus
God.
thing. Give me strength.
Mm.
Yeah. We've got like
Who'd win?
We've-
Pinkie Pie or Jeff the Killer?
I have no idea.
Sadly, fuck ugly Jeff.
So we've got about 11 minutes left, and we're clearly grasping at straws. Do we want to cut this off early?
Either that, or I could finish up on the story thing that sadly got interrupted by technical difficulties.
Oh, right, Ben. Go ahead,
And
Ben.
there's Ben one as well.
Yeah, Ben. Tell us about Ben.
Okay.
Local Santa
Well,
mascot.
We have enough
is
time for
prolific.
both because Ben's one's a bit short. But anyway, it's time for a local idiot report.
Gather around, kiddies. Uncle Darkness got a story for y'all.
Which happened a few days ago. They contacted me through frickin' Messenger, which is another reason why I hate Messenger now. He won't constantly leave me alone and asking me ridiculous questions and telling me about his shenanigans. And the most recent one is the weird one he sent to me at first. People in California are rude. Okay. Could you be precise to that? Because that's... I mean, why are they rude to you? I tried to cross the road and they hit me. Oh, shocker. Like you didn't do that to me with your mountain bike. That's not the point. They hit me with a car. Are you in the hospital? No, but they knocked me down and it hurt. And plus the person in the car said a rude insult to me. Well, before you get to that, Ben, what color was the light? It was yellow. And what was it when you look up again, if you ever did look at it? Green. But that's indicating for me to cross, white. No. Green is for cars to go. Red is for them to stop, so you can cross.
Yeah.
Why did they make it confusing? It's not confusing, it's basic colors. Please, Ben. But anyway, despite the stupidity of you not knowing, and I don't know how, because how the fuck did you pass a driver's license then? If you don't know the basic fucking traffic light colors.
He
But
probably,
anyway,
he probably
what
does.
did
He probably does know the basic traffic light colors. He just doesn't differentiate between when he's in the car and when he's on foot.
Yeah,
Well, if we have to be
it's got
honest.
to be a question.
If we have to be honest, people in Coldwater
Still.
here don't really follow that all the time. So
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. And I said, okay, so what does this person say to you that's so rude? Well, he said, get off the road, you freaking idiot. That's not him being rude, that's him being honest. There's a difference, Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, being honest and giving you some frickin' advice. Get off the road and stay off it. You're gonna get someone murdered.
And him saying freaking is him being a bit more polite. You could have said fucking or anything else. Nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Quite easily.
But he could check. Yeah, but he could have checked on me. Well, you obviously were okay because otherwise he wouldn't have. Well, did he drive around you or did he try to run you over again? No, he just drove around me. So yeah, if he wanted to kill you, he would have done it, but he didn't. So you're fine. You're fine. Can I come back to the UK? What did your parents say? No. There you go.
You get out and you don't come back. We're tired of your shit.
Yeah.
oh, just like Justin Bieber.
Oh, no, it got me started. Cringe.
That was brutal.
Believer burn.
Oh, I swear. If he comes over here, he will never see the light of day again. Just stay away from me, man. Oh, please. Anyway, that's so much on Ben, but if you like, I could finish off on the last story I tried to do last week, which was when I was around Kevin and Matt's house.
Yeah,
It's another short one.
yeah, I mean, we've
It
got
should be enough time.
yeah, we've got 6 minutes left. Go for it.
Okay. So yeah, from last week, this story. I went, well, Kevin decided to invite me round to his house and play Dead Space on Halloween with his younger brother Matt. I thought, okay, I haven't played Dead Space for a while, why not? And as I got round there, he explains the rules how we play the game. If we die, we pass the controller over to another person and they have to play for it till they die. So we're doing the Dark Souls thing again, aren't we? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do it then. I mean, I didn't die the first time I played it. amazingly. Yeah, but we're going to do it in the hardest difficulty. Fine.
Nice
Why not?
Nice little fake out there. I see what you did there. Fine.
And of course, he let me go first. Oh, thank you. It's not like I'm musty or nothing. And I was doing fine. And then a bastard necromorph just came from the air vent and got me. So yeah, they kill you a lot faster in this one, even if you do get an advantage. But you want to have a go, Kevin? Actually, I'm going to get drinks. Give it to Matt. Okay. Want to go, Matt? Oh, come on, brother. You said you wanted to play the bloody game. I got it for us to play it. Okay. It's not as scary as you think it is, okay? You'll be fine. So he was actually doing pretty well, although he still didn't get to the necromorph bit because he's still figuring out where he has to go, because most of the time I noticed he wasn't looking at the screen. He was looking somewhere else because he's worried about a jump scare. And when the jump scare did happen, he went to the toilet when that happened, so he missed it. So I'm just waiting to see what happens when he does come up to it. And then I noticed that his brother was gone for a pretty long time. I don't know why. And Matt was getting up to the bit where the doors are, where he has to slow them down so he can get through, or otherwise they smash him to bits. And then I saw at the corner of my eye the door slowly opening, and Kevin was sneaking in with a great big freaking blown up bag. He saw me looking at him, and he put his finger over his mouth, indicating to be quiet. And I was like, "Oh, what?" I just thought to myself, "Okay," and then just carried on watching the game. And then his reaction. I knew what he was going to do. He snuck up behind his brother, as close as he possibly can. As soon as he got to the door bit, as he's about to go through, he just went bang with the fucking thing by popping it. He screamed at the highest pitch, nearly deafening me, and fell off the freaking couch. Without hitting the corner of the couch with his crutcher. Yep, it sounded like that. And him nearly having a poor heart attack on the floor. I was like, Jesus Christ, my ears! Deafened by the bag and his brother's scream. I heard an owl winging in my ears. The next thing. It's brutal.
Christ.
And I just barely hear his brother mouthing off at him. Why you do that, you son of a bitch? I hate jump scares. And he's just laughing his ass off.
Of course.
I hate jump scares. I know. Why do you think I did it?
He did. He did actually say that after he done with his laughing fit and nearly suffocating on it. Jesus. Oh. The things he puts his brother through are insane.
You know, for some weird reason, that kind of reminds me of some of the weird shenanigans I get up to with my dad on occasion.
Oh, God.
There was one time, many years back, like 2 houses ago. I like how houses are a unit of measurement of time with my family now. but 2 houses ago, we were getting ready to go somewhere. Dad and I were late getting ready, so Mom was just sitting on the couch reading a book, waiting on us. My dad and I were talking about something, and I had like a tiny plastic sword and a partially deflated rubber bouncy ball. That was like, it was one of those big things like used for kid yoga or something. Dad picked up the partially deflated bouncy ball. I forget what led us to this point, but for some reason, he began trying to shove said bouncy ball down his pants while running in circles. I was chasing him with the sword in my hand, trying to shove it up his ass. And we're just going around in circles like this. Bob's watching from the side, and eventually we both come to a stop because we hear a sound coming from her. We look, and she's laughing. She's laughing so hard she's crying, and like her eyeliner, mascara, whatever, is flowing down her cheeks. She is crying. She is laughing so hard she's crying. I have never seen that happen. I don't think I've managed to make my mother have that kind of response since then. I hold, and that's why that moment sticks out to me, because my dad and I made my mom laugh so hard she cried and had to go put back on her makeup.
What a remarkable story.
Yes, the wonders of me when I was a child. Shit happens. Apparently, I was a very self-destructive little child. In fact, that'll have to be a story for next time, because we just hit the 1 hour mark, and that means it is time for us to end this episode of Jibber Jabber. So, thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. We'll see you next time, and as always, keep listening, people. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.